Hello and welcome to Wilson Waffling Live. This is episode 16. Yeah, 16. Episode 16, entitled Just General Twaddle. Run title.
Wilson Waffling.
Hi there. Can you hear me now? Excellent. Hi there and welcome to Wilson Waffling Live. Oh, look at my hair. What's wrong with my hair? It's all. Oh, that's better. That is better. Hello, and look at this lovely sunny day behind me. Sunny day. And I thought I would put a nice sunny picture up online for me to sit behind because it's such a lovely sunny day. And welcome if you're watching this live. Hello. Hi there. If you're not watching this live, if you're watching this on YouTube, then it might not look like this at the present moment in time. It might look very dark, or it might be pitch black, or it might be raining. But whatever it is, when I recorded it, this is what it looked like. Nice and sunny. So this week's Wilson Waffling, this is episode 16. Can you imagine? 16 episodes. 16 episodes of Wilson Waffling Live. Tremendous. I don't know how I'm keeping up with it. Anyway, this week is going to be sort of like General Twaddle, I've called it. Episode 16, General Twaddle, because I just need to bring you up to date with a few things and discuss a few things and answer a few questions. And then I've got something that is in the pipeline ready for next week that I'm going to focus on. So, first things first, did you all have a nice week? Yes? No? All right. Well, I had a very nice week and I had a very nice surprise because when I looked at Wilson Waffling, my webpage today, I don't know if you can see this, but can you see just here? Let me just zoom in for you. Let's see if I can zoom in on this webpage for you. Can you see this? Oh, too big, too big. Back. There. Can you see? Look, Teach 100. This blog is rated 599. 599. I've actually managed to get below the 600 mark. It's been on the 600 mark for weeks, months, and I finally managed to drop below 600. So I am dead chuffed about that. So if anybody isn't aware, then Wilson Waffling is my web page that everything goes on to. But the important thing is that the more people who look at it and retweet it and talk about it, then the lower the rating it goes. And as you can see, I'm now below 600, which is fantastic. So if you are one of the people who shares, thank you very much. That was especially just for you. Yes, you. And if you're listening to this and you can't see me pointing at you, it's for you. I'll just whisper it in your ear for you. There you go. Just for you. Thank you. Thank you. Excellent. So let's move on. Now, I have a bit of a quandary because originally this show was called Wilson Waffling Live, as you probably guessed by the intro. And originally my idea was to broadcast live on a Sunday afternoon and get some interaction built up and things like that. And as you're probably aware, that some people do watch me live, and thank you for that if you're one of those people or if you are that person. But most people watch on YouTube or watch at a later date. And Sunday afternoon, I think, is not the best time for everybody. There might be sport on, there might still be recovery from the night before or something like that. So I'm wondering whether or not I still broadcast live, so if you want to join in, you can do. But a lot of people watch it on YouTube afterwards, and so the interaction part I'm going to move to one side. Anyway, I thought, can I still call it Wilson Waffling Live? Or should I change the show title? So I was thinking perhaps we should change the the show title. I'm going to have a think about changing the show. And what we're going to do, I'm going to ask you, my viewers, what you think it's going to be called. Now, before you all rush off and think about a new name that I haven't thought of, you can do that if you wish. If you suddenly think, oh, I've got a really good name that I would like to call it, and it's not on I haven't suggested it, you want to suggest it, then of course you can of course just tweet me and tell me what you want to call it. But I've come up with two options. So these are the two options. Are you ready? So should we carry on calling it Wilson Waffling Live? Hello, this is Wilson Waffling Live. Okay, so this is the Wilson Waffling, there's my thumb, Wilson Waffling Lives part, does that? Or should we call it the Waffling Wilson Show? The Waffling Wilson Show. Can you see down there? The Waffling Wilson Show. Now, the reason this is green behind me is because I've just realised I forgot to put a picture on it. So this wouldn't be normally green. That's just my green screen behind me. So should we call it the Waffling Wilson Show, or keep going with Wilson Waffling Live? Okay, which one do you think? Waffling Wilson Show or Wilson Waffling Live? Your decision. Okay, so have a vote. Hang on, let me just get me just sort of like change this now. Let's go back to this me. Yeah, so that's your choice. You can have one or the other. Okay, so go away, have a think about it. And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to set up a poll. And I'll set up a poll and you can just click which one you want. But I'll also open it up so there's options that you can give your own version of Wilson Waffling. Whatever. I mean, really and truly, I would like Wilson and Waffling in there. So the amount of all the variations of this is quite limiting, but I would like Wilson Waffling and then something else, okay, or Waffling Wilson or something like that. So I think that's a brand name. I think that's my branding now. So something like that would be absolutely fantastic. So which brings me on to the next thing. So I'll put that poll up. And I'll stick it on Twitter, and then you can tweet along, but I'll tweet it throughout the week, and I'll put it on Facebook as well, so you'll be able to see that as well. Now, talking about Facebook, did you see how that's just sort of like linked so smoothly in? It could be even that this show is planned. Now, talking about Facebook, you might be aware that I have a Facebook page called Wilson Waffling. Can you see the trend going there? And Wilson Waffling is doing really well. I've got 443 likes at the moment. And hopefully with the new students coming in, that might even get to 500. But I wanted to share with you something that I shared on Wilson Waffling Facebook page. And it's one that you might want to go and have a look at, or you might not. It's totally up to you. But it's this. Now, there is Professor David Smith is a HEA National Teaching Fellow, and he got his award for his innovative approaches to using the social media. And he is somebody that I sort of like aspire to, and I sort of like looked at his YouTube channel, and he's a professor. I mean, a professor. I mean, I'm just sort of like a PGCE person, okay, with 60 points on my masters. Okay, I'm a fellow of the National, of the Higher Education Academy, a fellow. That's sort of like right the way down there. I think there's one, no, I think that's the lowest. Anyway, he's a professor to start off with, so I'm not a professor. I'm a senior lecturer, but that means that I'm old. I'm an old lecturer, look at it like that. Anyway, he's a professor to start off with. He's also got a national award for innovative work with social media and YouTube, and he has a wonderful YouTube channel. And you can go along and see that, and you can. I'll put the link in the show notes. I'll put the link down below if you're looking for it. And he does a whole load of videos about chemistry. He's a professor in chemistry at University of York, and I would just like to sort of like for you to support him if you would like to go along, because this video was really interesting, because I've often wondered why we eat chocolate. Why do we eat chocolate? And this video looks at the chemistry behind us eating chocolate, and it's really interesting. And coming from York as well, there's sort of like a potted history of chocolate factories in York. So it's by far, it's really worth it. Go along, have a look at it. And so after you've watched this video, pop along and look at his video as well, and then give it a like, give it a thumbs up. And so, I mean, not that he needs subscribers, he's got thousands of subscribers, you know, compared to my 25, but we all start low and move up. But go on, it's really interesting. And hang on in there, it gets a bit well, it might be a bit technical with the science, but it's very well explained, and it's got pretty pictures and everything like that. Okay, so pop along and see that, and I'll put the link below. But if you want to go along to my Facebook page, and by all means click and click the like button and have and say thank you very much, Wilson Waffling. And remember, I post up there current and up-to-date issues that are going in the world of primary education, technology and teaching. So let's move on. And this is probably not going to be half an hour. I often say that, and I end up just sort of like waffling on for sort of like half an hour in any case. But this probably will not be the full length of the show, because the last part I want to sort of like do slightly different next week. So I kept promising that I should get a slide for this next part, because the next part is Waffling Wilson answers questions. Waffling Wilson answers. That was me. That's not like a theme tune. I need a theme tune for that. And I've done a picture. And do you want to know the really annoying thing about this? And it really is annoying. I sort of like just wish I could think of a word. I wish I could think of a word that sort of like means answers questions. That is answers questions that begins with W. Because it's all like Waffling Wilson answers. And it's all like, no, I don't want Waffling Wilson answers. I want Waffling Wilson so-and-so. And so anyway, work on that. Followers, please work on that, followers. Now, you remember that if you would like to ask me any questions, and then you can go to ask.fm Wilson Waffling down there. And I think that's a / actually, not a dash. And I often tweet it, so go along and you can ask me any questions that you want. Now, the first question we have is a really interesting one, and it didn't come via ask.fm. That's right, yeah, it came via Twitter, and here it is. And before you say it's not me asking the question, it's a different Ian. How can I get my year 3/4s to get into the mindset that writing up an science experiment is part of the process? Now, that is a very interesting question. How can I get my year 3/4s into the mindset that writing up the science experiment is part of the process? Right. This is my view. Okay, so this is my view. Okay, first of all, I think the thinking behind a science investigation or working scientifically is part of the process. And I would change one word in that, and I would change the word writing to recording. That's it. I really would change that one word, that recording a science experiment is part of the process. Okay, now that recording might involve writing, or it might involve something else. So this is how I would approach it, or how I did approach it. it is important that we have some kind of record of science investigation. And it's also very important, I think, for children to realize that the science investigation is almost like linear. There's a set progress in it, a set almost like algorithm that goes down step-by-step approach to it. And I think that's really important. And I think what we need to do is support the children in learning and to communicate that. So first things first, I would say that a lot of the time I would take that sort of like process and chunk it down into separate areas. So I might start off with children just recording predictions or just recording methods or just recording findings or graphs, and this is where cross-curricular links really come in. So a lot of the time I would link the method part of the science to instruction writing in English, so literacy, so that would be the connection. So instead of sort of like creating a new thing like the infamous let's make a jam sandwich, I would say, so what were the step-by-step things that we did in science when we did this investigation? Okay, and then that would be sort of like the starting point for that. The other thing, and then sort of like findings, presenting data, I might say in the mathematics lesson, right, we are going to use our results that we used in science, we found out in science, to draw the graph. So can you see how it sort of like all links together like that? Second thing, I would be encouraging children to record, and that means that we might be doing things like videoing or creating using iPad apps or podcasting or cartoon pictures or anything like that. And I think focusing on writing, although writing is important, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying writing is not important. I'm saying that when we're doing a science lesson, then to me, the most important part is the science, and everything else comes second. And we don't want children to get turned off from science by doing writing a lot or anything like that. So I would engage my year 3-4s by giving them tasks and recording it, which gets them involved a lot more, but also getting involved with technology and real life situations and saying, this scientist wants us to do this, this is what we must do, these aliens want to see how to do this, and sort of like give a context to it. So they're actually getting involved in, they want to produce that final thing, which is actually demonstrating that they can do the method, the conclusion, the presenting data and things like that. The other thing that I would do, and this is really useful, is to set up some kind of visual representation of the flow of the science. So like on the wall have like big circles that say prediction dash, method dash, what we did dash, or variables and things like that. So they're constantly seeing that in a visual form, and so they can engage it, and even sort of like getting into the hall and getting into big circles and say, right, now let's think about prediction, now let's go down, now let's go there, and almost like setting it up. So because what we want them to do, or what I would really want the children to do, is understand the process and getting their mind into that process. Now, I would not be a great one to say, and I have done in the past, believe me, I have, now write this up. Okay, I would want to sort of like see that recording sort of like as part of the experiment, as not as something additional. So those are my ideas. By all means, tell me I'm talking rubbish. That's absolutely fine. Reflect on them. Give me some feedback if you wish. That's absolutely fine. But that would be my sort of like idea of that. Now, the other thing is, and I've got my app here, it says, the only other question I have one more question. Okay, and it's not a educational question, it's a random question, and it says, if you were a bird, where would you fly? If I was a bird, where would I fly? Now, this is really interesting, because the first thing that really worries me about being a bird is, are birds scared of heights? Are birds scared of heights? Because I'm petrified of heights. I mean, seriously, seriously petrified of heights, i.e. standing on a chair, petrified. Okay, get wobbly, get all dizzy. So are birds actually scared of heights? Because if they are scared of heights, I don't want to be a bird. I don't think I could stand flying. I can't even fly in a plane, let alone being a bird. Now, but if I had the freedom to fly anywhere, I think where I would like to go, there are several places, and it's almost like ancient history. I know ancient history, you never thought I would be interested in that, didn't you? I would love to fly to the top of Mount Olympus just to make sure that there's nobody up there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Zeus, etc. Yeah. The other thing that I would like to do is that I would like to fly to sort of like a place that nobody's ever been to. Sort of like in the middle of a rainforest or something like that, somewhere that's never been charted, so I can just go and land and just actually be there. I also love to fly over things like Niagara Falls or the Grand Canyon, and to fly over ancient Aztec and Incas civilizations, and just not being on the ground, but actually get that aerial view to see exactly what it was like. So that is where I would fly if I was a bird. Now then, as I said, we're coming to the end, but a few more things before I head off. You might be saying, Ian, you're not talking about this week's waffle. Well, this week's waffle is called First Steps with Tweeting, and this I actually wrote. I'm trying to improve. What I'm trying to improve, and bear with me with this. I'm trying to sort of like get more. I'm trying to increase my own professional development here. And I wrote this article quite a while back and submitted it to a website to be published. Now, it didn't. Okay, so I've had my little cry. I've had my little sort of like my sad times, and sort of like wiped a single tear from my eye and booked myself back up and said if it was not meant to be. And so I thought, right. And a lot of websites, when you send something to publish, it says you can't publish it anywhere else. It has to be on their website. Some do say after 10 weeks you can put it on your own website and then link to it. So I've been sat on this. I wrote it way back, sort of like in August, beginning of August, end of July, August, and sent it off. And the website was very, I'm not saying who it was, by the way. The website was very clever because they said, we can't respond to everybody, but if you want to know if you're published, keep looking at the website. Know what you wanted? One hit a day, didn't you? From moi. Okay, anyway, I've done that. Anyway, it hasn't shown. It's now nearly the end of September, so I think it ain't going to happen. So I popped it here. So this is the one that I wrote, and I wrote it for sort of like teachers, but it counts. It refers to all learners, and it's just what I consider to be the first steps on tweeting. It's sort of like it looks at after you've sort of like created your account, what you should be doing. And you've made your account, you've done everything, you've worked out what all the jargon is, and then you look at this, you can have a look at this, and this sort of like tells you what you can sort of like get up to. I also down at the bottom said here, you can also, I might also write how I do this and deciding what to tweet later on. So that's Twitter. What first steps in twitting? Twitting? What's twitting? Good grief, tweeting. So by all means, go and have a look at that. But I've done something else. And this is one of the things that I was going to ask you to sort of like get involved in, and a lot of people have already. And what I'm looking for is that I'm looking to sort of like engage with learners more. And what I've done on the Wilson Waffling page is that I've set up, and these have been up for a while. I've set up some forums, and what I've done in this first discussion forum up at the top here, I've popped a topic in about low-level disruptive behavior, and this has been really popular in the news a lot. And if you go into here, there's all the information in the blog post is here. Okay, so it tells you there's a document, watch this video, and then it says have a go at this survey. And this survey is anonymous, so you don't need to log into anything or anything like that if you don't want to. And oops, press the wrong button then. And then there's a bit more down below there. And what I'm going to do next week, I'm going to come back and have a look at that. Okay, and I'm also going to set off the next one, and it's all ready to go. But I'll sort of like span it out, sort of like, and give you a week to interact. If I find I have no interaction within a week, then we'll make it a little bit longer. So that's almost the end. And even though I said that this would not be 30 minutes long, we're currently at 25 minutes, and I've just got to do the recap. So recap time. First things first, don't forget to vote. There's going to be a vote. You need to decide, do you want to be Wilson Waffling Live or the Wilson Waffling Show? Wilson Waffling Live or the Wilson Waffling Show, or one of your own. And keep an eye on Twitter, and if you don't know my Twitter handle, then here it is. There we go. Ching, just there. Hi Wilson YSJ, follow me on Twitter and you'll see the link, and have a poll. And remember that if you've got your own idea, then you can put your own idea up there. Also, don't forget to nip along to my Facebook page and give it a like. And remember, there's this wonderful video done by Professor David Smith on the chemistry of York chocolate. Well worth a read. Okay, a bit heavy, a lot of detail in places, but well worth a read. Also, don't forget that if you wish, you can pop along to ask.fm with Waffling Wilson and post me a question, or of course you can always post it on Twitter and I will still read it and get back to you. Okay, apart from that, we are at the end of Wilson Waffling Live episode 16. Hope you have enjoyed it. And all that remains for me to say is thank you for watching, have fun, and I'll catch you all later. Bye.